So good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us. I am Lesley Hodge in Wichita, Kansas with eXp Realty. And this morning, I've got a couple of guests that I wanted to ask a bunch of questions to. Kris Schumacher, he's a Wichita agent as well. He 7 times his business this past year, and he's just killing it this year. He's off to like a raging start. And also, I haven't met Glenda in person, but I've been really excited to hear her story. So Glenda Flores with Berkshire Hathaway, she was their Rookie of the Year for last year. She did 39 transactions in her first year, so super rock star on that. That's an amazing accomplishment. So thank you everybody for joining us. And I want, Glenda, we'll start it off with you. Give us a little bit of your background and your story and how you got into real estate and all that good stuff.
Well, I used to work for a real estate company before. We used to do rental properties, commercial. So I was doing contracts and all paperwork. So when I was attending Wichita State, so I was actually graduating. But when I got my degree, I decided to get my license. And I think that was the best decision. So after that, I started doing real estate under my license. And I got all these clients and I was very happy. Yep.
Yeah, this is way more fun than just all paperwork.
Yes. But I got a lot of experience, I will have to say. And then the previous owners, well, my previous boss was the one who teach me how to sell and how to interact with clients. So I think experience has to be a key, like a main key in my success.
So how long did you do just the paperwork side before you got your license and all that?
It was about 8 years. I was with the company with 8 or 9 years.
And was that here in Wichita?
In Wichita, yes.
Okay. So Kris, give us a little bit of your background. How long have you been selling real estate? What'd you do before? All that good stuff.
Well, I've never done anything else out here in Wichita. I moved out here in 2001 to bowl for Wichita State. Went 3.5 years into college and realized that a degree probably wasn't going to make me any smarter. So got out. By that time had met my future ex-wife now. Well, yeah, future ex-wife. So kids and all that, and realized that I needed to do something with my life. So I got into, had a buddy of mine that was in real estate, had bowled with him. Always had heard his stories and thought, wow, this would be kind of cool. So I kind of shadowed him for a week. I wasn't working at the time. Went in and got my license, and I've been licensed ever since May of 2005. So I've been with 4 different brokerages and done a host of everything from property management to the residential, did a little bit of commercial, done property management as far as project managements and flips and renovations and stuff. So kind of have a background in a lot of different phases of residential real estate.
So how long had you been in Wichita before you got your real estate license? Like how big was your sphere that you had built up?
Sphere wise it was okay. I mean, it was in the bowling community. So I'd been in Wichita for basically 3.5, 4 years before I got into real estate. The problem with it is the bowling centers I bowled in, the general manager of the company, his wife was a real estate agent, still is out here. And so I was competing with her, and all the bowlers knew her. So she kind of kicked my butt in a lot of different areas, but a lot of the younger buyers that I bowled with became clients of mine. And so that's kind of how I began. My sphere was just in the bowling center community, which is pretty large in the Wichita area.
Yeah. So Glenda, when you wake up in the morning, what's your day typically look like?
I get up really early in the morning.
What time is that?
7, well, sometimes 6 if I have appointments at 8. I do check my message, my emails. That's the first thing I do. Social media, check if I have anything on the inbox, any messages. I do have an assistant who works for me, but I'm the one who is in charge of my clients. Like if I have to, I mean, when it comes to talk to them, it's me. Like I answer them, I call them back. So that's the first thing I do.
So the rest of your day, I know I've had this question a bunch. It's like, do you time block your day and say, I'm going to return phone calls during these times, I'm going to do appointments during these times, or is it just whatever takes place first takes place first?
Mornings, I will set up all my appointments, call everyone back, whoever have a question, and then afternoons I would do showings pretty much. Pretty much all day.
Kris, what does your day look like? How does it start? I know how it finishes. I usually am talking to you.
Usually it finishes at Dino's.
Right.
My day is pretty similar. I get up in the mornings, return any social media posts, any emails, try to continue to put out fires from the day before, follow up on emails and stuff. I really try to do the administrative portion of our business, my job in the mornings. That's when I find most of my clients are not active, not doing anything. They're at work, they're dealing with their kids and their family situations. So I try to get all my Sky Slope stuff done, all of my Facebook posting, everything that I can, usually before lunch. And then usually that's in that process, I'm also setting up my afternoon. By that time, I've kind of been talking with some clients, trying to set up some showings for later that afternoon, that evening, or the following day. And really, I'm always trying to work for the next half day. So if I'm up in the morning, I'm trying to work towards that afternoon. If it's that afternoon, I'm trying to set up my next morning. I'm always trying to be 12 hours ahead of myself.
So when you're doing that, do you make a list like every night before you go to bed? Like, these are the things that I have to knock out before lunch, or do you just get up and do it first thing in the morning?
I am a list guy. If I could show you my monitor that I'm looking at, my monitor is peppered with pink Post-it notes. It happens to be the color of this month. I make lists all the time. And I know we all have digital phones and notebooks in our phones, but I find that a Post-it note sits right on my computer, and everything that I need to get done for that day is on that Post-it note. And I mean everything. I mean, I'll put stuff on there, take dog for a walk. I mean, just everything. And then there's days that when you're not that busy, you're not setting up showings, I still set up a list, but it just makes you feel accomplished, like you did something that day other than just get up and throw clothes on, which is sometimes even a challenge in itself.
Lately it has been.
Yeah.
So Glenda, are you a big list maker?
Yes, definitely. I have been always organized. I don't know, since I was very young. But I think you have to be on top of everything. Like if you want to do real good on business, or especially real estate, you have to be on top of everything. Call your clients. I think they can feel it when you are on top of everything. And then when you call them and ask them questions, when I have different kind of buyers, but I speak Spanish too. So I get a lot of foreigners, I get different markets. So I had to be very careful to which kind of clients I'm talking to, what do they need. But yeah, I had to make a list. Even at night, I had to make a few notes of what I have to do next morning, so I don't have to wait and then keep going. But I'm pretty busy pretty much all day. So
that's how my day is. And I know that it's like, if I don't make the list before I go to bed, then I just lay in bed and think about everything that I have to do first thing in the morning. Yep. So it's like an evolving list all day. And what's even funny about my lists is I could be doing something that's not on the list. I will still write it on the list after I'm finished, just so that I can cross it off. Yeah. A lot of times mine like wind up on random envelopes and things like that. I'm not as organized as pink Post-it notes, but it still gets the job done, I guess.
Yep.
So Glenda, you mentioned that you have an assistant, and I also heard Kris say that, but being newer as an agent, not necessarily, you've got a lot of experience just from all of the previous stuff you did. At what point did you decide that you were going to hire an assistant?
After 6 months, when I started, I had all these clients, and so I really have a lot of time. I didn't have a lot of time to do my Facebook posts. So she's in charge of doing all my postings, but I'm the one who answers Messenger and, you know, the one who answers all my clients. But I really need help. I was busy doing a lot of showings. I had a lot of buyers, few listings at the beginning. So I really have no time to do my Facebook posts and social media. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how often would you say that she's posting for you? I'm assuming that she. So one time a day, multiple times?
It would be once a day. And then sometimes if I'm busy and someone is texting or messaging me, she will answer and say, okay, Glenda will call you back in a few minutes. Or let me get your number, your name and number, and then Glenda will return your phone call or answer to you.
And are you posting like about a specific house, or what type of posts are you making?
If I have a listing, I will definitely post my listings for sure. And then just advertising about what I do. And then if, and I do loans too. Like I have a lot of experience because I used to work for Bank of America before. So I have all that experience when it comes to loans and build credit. So, and so on.
So Kris, when you started delegating your business, at what point was that?
That was at the beginning of last year when I really caught fire with everything. And I credit a lot of being able to stay as busy as I was to my assistant, because she was able to handle the Facebook posts. I'm a little bit different than how Glenda works her assistant. My assistant will actually be the first point of contact for the new leads that come in. She makes sure that the search alerts are set up right in KV Core. We'll make sure we're emailing them the right stuff. If we need to get them to a lender to discuss financing, she's the first step to email the link to the application over. So she really is kind of the frontline person, which is great because that's something I'm horrible at. That was one thing I learned from a previous broker of mine, was find what your strengths are, hammer those to death, but the things that you're not good at, give them to somebody else. You'll spend all day on things you're not good at, where you could be doing more dollar producing activities with something you are good at. So using my assistant, she's the frontline person. She really goes to town and gets that set up and creates the meetings for me so that I can go into the meetings and rock out the meetings where she rocks out on the phone.
So Julie just asked a question in chat. How did you find your assistant?
I got really lucky with my assistant. When I worked for the Josh Roy team, she was the virtual assistant for the Josh Roy team. And when I left the Josh Roy team, she still worked there. I don't know what happened or how they split ways, but they did. And one day I got an email out of the blue from her. And she said, hey, I just letting you know that I'm available for work. She's a virtual assistant. She lives in the Philippine Islands, but she has internet connection. She has a very good English accent. And she's very easy to understand, and she knows KV Core. She knows all the systems and processes. She knows real estate. So she works for 2 other agents. She works for me for about 30 hours a week. And then she works for the other 2 about 15 to 20 hours a week. So, I mean, she works about 50, 55 hours a week. But yeah, I got super lucky. I know there are websites. I know there's a Fiverr website. I know there's a bunch of websites that you can find virtual assistants. I think the biggest thing is finding a virtual assistant who's been in real estate and who understands the back office systems that we use. Because if you have somebody who's just data entry, I think you're going to lose more clients than you'll gain.
So Glenda, how did you find your assistant?
She used to do, I met her at church. She used to do all the postings, Facebook postings for our church. She's really good. I mean, she's the best when it comes to posting. I never had Facebook because I have been always studying and working, and I never had Facebook before, or, you know, I'm not really involved when it comes to social media, but she's really good with technology and social media. I think she does pretty good. I mean, I get a lot of clients, like many clients a week. just because her postings. Even lenders, they always text me, hey, Glenda, your postings are very great. So, but she's really good. She only works from 15 to 20 hours a week for me. I mean, not a lot of hours. She only does that. So I'm pretty much the one who handle all my clients and then all questions.
So she just does your social media, basically. She's like a
Yeah.
social media assistant.
She doesn't get involved in my contracts or, you know, talking to clients. It's always me. So.
And Julie, like I talked to Wendy Foreman about it. Pam can probably better answer this than I can, but I think it was about 2 years ago. And she was like, you need to do your DISC personality profile, and then whoever you're going to interview, they need to have, so exact same thing Kris was saying, they need to be the polar opposite of what you are. So that was how, and I just made a post on social media, you know, this is what I'm looking for. And I was looking for somebody that was licensed. So Glenda, your assistant's probably not licensed either, right? Since she's just doing social media.
No.
Okay.
Do you use I might have missed this part. Do you use transaction coordinators as well to, you know, do all the paperwork and, you know, just get contract to close stuff as well?
At this time, I don't. At this time, that's what I use my mornings for. I make sure all my SkySlope stuff is done. There are times I've thought about having my assistant do that for me, but with her being in the Philippines, I mean, I would be scanning and emailing and all that stuff, whereas I can just put that, I mean, for me, really, it takes, if I have a full contract package, because of, I'm super OCD organized. So when I put a file together, I have one PDF file. It's got the MLS sheet. It's got everything that SkySlope asks for. I can upload the whole document, do a split, and I'm done in 5 minutes. And it's different for me too. I mean, I live alone. My kids are older and grown. I don't have sports activities and stuff like that going on right now, or really at all anymore. So for me to sit down at 8:30, 9 o'clock at night and do that for 5 or 10 minutes is just as easy. Whereas again, Glyza, my assistant, she's awesome on the phones, and she can hold a conversation and she can just continue to ask questions and keep them on the phone as long as possible. Whereas that's something I can do, I just hate doing, period. So.
And I know I'm still typing my own contracts, offers for the most part. I have been relying on Pam a lot more lately. I'll go into notes on my iPhone and I'll type out the repair request, just, you know, the verbiage that I want copied and pasted into the paragraph. And then she's been typing those up, and then I've been sending them through DocuSign for signature. But yeah, I'm still doing the bulk of all of the contract stuff as well. So Glenda, I know social media, you said you're getting a ton of leads off of that. What would you say your other two biggest lead generation sources are?
My website and referrals has been a great key. I mean, last year, I had a family and I got 5 contracts from the same family. And that was a lot. I mean, I saw a house to the parents, and then to their son, to their daughter, to their uncle, and their cousin in less than 4 months. I was like, oh my gosh. So, but referrals, it's huge. I mean, I think when you do great on customers, there is a lack of great customer service for sure. Like I have noticed that, you know, the new generation, sometimes they can be tough. They cannot be that nice. Not all of them, but I think people are waiting for great customer service. And when they can feel that, they can feel when they're very important to you. So I think customer service has been a great key. I try to be, try to be on time. I try to make them feel that they're important to me, that I'm gonna find the right house, everything they need. In referrals, it's huge, huge source, yeah.
So on your referrals, are you doing any continuing marketing to those people to make sure that you're staying in front of them?
I try to relationship with my clients. I mean, they're not my best friends, but they are my clients. They know. I mean, after we close a deal or we get a closing, if they have a question, they're more than welcome to call me. And sometimes they call, hey, I got this, I have a problem with my house, and I always call them back, and I'm always there. So.
Okay. Kris, what about you? So top 3 lead sources.
Top 3 have been Zillow, Facebook, and then just more referrals than repeats. But yeah, a lot of referrals this past year. Kind of the same thing Glenda was saying, just really, they're not my best friend and I'm not going to go to dinner and have drinks with them. But at the same time, I want them to know that, and I tell them, I have a large circle of contractors. So if something does break down, if something doesn't work, please call me at any time and I'll reach out to my people and refer my people out. And it just keeps that small business thing going that everybody talks about. So my guys are getting work from clients that I've sold houses to 6, 8, 10, 12 months ago, whether it's a small plumbing leak or a new floor or something. And as those clients start realizing that, hey, we can call Kris and Kris really just can kind of get anything fixed for us, then all of a sudden my name just becomes synonymous in a lot of sentences that have to do with real estate.
I'm going to throw a question out there for Julie because I know that she's very seasoned, high producing agent. What do you do to stay in front of your clients to increase that repeat and referral business?
Yeah, so I'm focusing a lot. So I'm a 4-year agent. So I was 2 years with Keller Williams. I've been just crossed my 2-year anniversary with eXp. So seasoned, I guess if you consider 4 years seasoned, I don't know.
I do. You lasted twice as long as most.
Okay, but I did have a really good year. 2019 was a great year for me. And a lot of that was, not a ton of repeat because, I'm only 4 years in.
Sure.
So certainly referral, but I would say I use Facebook just more organically. I'm not, and Glenda, I'm guessing your assistant's probably posting to your business page.
Yes.
Yeah. I just go straight to my personal profile. I just want people to know, like, and trust me. So right now I'm very, very focused on being the mayor of my community, the digital mayor. I want people, when they think of Northville, Michigan, I want them to think of me. And especially during this pandemic with all the small businesses just struggling. We have a really cute downtown area. And as you can understand, I mean, some of these places will never come back. And so especially now, I'm really trying to promote myself I just want to help people. I mean, that's honest and true. And just developing those relationships with the businesses. So before this whole COVID thing, I was doing community videos. I would go out, I did my gym, did a local axe throwing place, where you throw the axe. It was just getting actually kind of started with it because that was just kind of the avenue I wanted to pursue. And then this happened. So I continued to do just some Zoom interviews, just one-on-one like this with my husband's cousin. We did that. So that's kind of, obviously evolved because of COVID, but video is really what I'm focusing on. I'm also, getting out of my comfort zone with the live videos and just educating people, helping people, those sorts of things. The know, like, and trust. I mean, we all know we should be doing it, right? And I'm certainly not an expert at it, but it's helped a lot. But Facebook in general has been really big for me, and more from a personal standpoint. I clearly can't have people posting for me because I'm not advertising to people on my business page or my personal page, so that's okay. So, just being me, letting people see and know who I am, that's helped a lot with referral. So a lot of my business, I would say 60% was referral last year. So video is what's been helping me.
We've had a ton of video views lately, and you've got a really captive audience right now. So that's been
awesome. Oh, like social media's up 40, 50%. It's like, you can just feel it. You can just feel the people. I'm like, oh, they're all going to go away again when this gets better. But I don't know. I think that connection, that virtual connection, maybe is going to be here to stay for a while. People are getting used to it, so hope that helps.
So absolutely. Kim Elders posted in here and she says, I'm having trouble getting my business off of the ground. What suggestions do you have that she can do to get her name out there more and get some deals rolling in for her? So Glenda, you were the rookie rock star. So let's hear what you did.
I think she will have to consider and look at her advertising. I mean, what kind of advertising is she doing? We're living in times when we don't really have to go out on the street and talk and say, hey, I'm a realtor. I mean, it's all social media, and you have to keep up with technology. I mean, what is the newest? Facebook, I think, is a great tool. I mean, Instagram, a lot of tools that she can use, but she has to make sure that she advertise herself pretty good. And how Julie was saying, I mean, it's her, you know, like she wants people to know her, you know, like as a person, as someone who people can trust. And I think, I mean, that's one of the things that she can do. I mean, look at what kind of advertising or how she is doing it to get clients. Mm-hmm.
So what kind of advertising were you doing in your first 6 months before you hired your assistant to take over your social media advertising?
Well, the first thing I do was Facebook. I never had Facebook before. Facebook page is kind of like both personal and well, more business. I mean, I have few of my nephews' pictures because I have no kids, but it's pretty much both. And I do advertise, you know, my listings and but Facebook was the main thing, main source of getting listings and getting clients.
So posting on your personal page, posting on your business page, or posting like in buy, sell, and trade pages?
Well, my assistant do postings on Facebook page, both, and then Craigslist, and then all these pages that we have here in Wichita. I mean, which is the Sedgwick County, and then areas that covered our MLS. Mm-hmm.
Right. So Kris, what recommendations would you have for Kim on getting her business going?
Pretty much similar to what everybody else was saying. The biggest thing that I found is you have to kind of narrow your focus a little bit. And I know that sounds kind of different, but like for me, I go to Go Time training. Everybody there knows that I'm in real estate. Number one, I wear this jacket all the time. So everybody asks, hey, what's eXp? You know, hey, you're in real estate. It says Realty right on it. So right off the bat, everybody knows that I'm in real estate. I guarantee when we were doing our workouts, and even now we're doing virtual workouts from home with our trainer and up to 4 people. And every now and then, probably once a week, I would say, one of the people get on and the first thing they ask, hey, Kris, have you been busy showing houses? So it's just one of those things where you really have to find a group of people and just talk to them. You don't have to sell them. You're not selling them anything. You're not selling candy bars or Girl Scout cookies. You are just letting them know that you're there, and they'll talk to you. They will absolutely talk to you. They will ask you how the market is. They will ask you if home prices are up or down. They will tell you about their next door neighbor who sold their house 2 years ago and got $175,000, and can their house be sold for that much? Absolutely. They will talk to you left and right. Same thing at the bowling center. I cannot walk into a bowling center now in the city of Wichita and not one person at least walk up to me and say, hey, how's work? You've been busy. I see you all over Facebook posting. You must be busy right now. And in the back of my head, I'm laughing because my assistant posted all that stuff. I have zero clue what houses she posted, but everybody else thinks I'm busy, so I must be busy. And for me, I'm like, yeah, been great, been busy. Phone's been blowing up, emails, blah, 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 blah. A lot of them are always asking me, you know, it's not uncommon when we go out of town to go bowl on trips. A lot of the guys will be like, are you always on your phone? And I'm like, yeah, that's part of the business. You know, when I'm busy, I'm always on my phone. But you know what? You guys are not making money right now while we're out of town. You're not punched in on a time clock. Guess what? I am. And I'm out of town and I'm enjoying myself. So yeah, that's part of the gig. But you know what? There's good and bad. So as far as like Kim's question goes, I would really just focus in like on a group, whether it's a workout group, whether it's a hobby group that you're in, a craft group, a mom's group, kids soccer team, something where there's a group of people, whether it's 4 people, 10 people, or 20 people. And again, there is always a way to interject real estate into a conversation.
But it does make it easier, you know, if you have the shirt or you have, you know, that conversation starter, or, you know, I'll wear big jewelry or something like that. And it makes people, because I hate initiating the conversation. I'm fine when somebody else comes up and talks to me to carry on that conversation, but it's not something that I'm just super comfortable walking up and being like, hey, how are you today? Well, that's not me.
Yeah.
So I know that I talked to Kevin Dunn. He's a big agent out of Texas. He's a character, but I asked him, he sold like 180 some houses his first year selling real estate. And I didn't even know that he sold residential until I spent some time with him in Mexico in February. And because I've always known that he was this big commercial agent. And I said, how in the hell did you sell that many houses? I mean, I know how busy I am doing 60 to 80 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I showed up at all my kids' events. I had my Remax shirt on. I showed up in my Remax pickup. I showed up with my Remax hat on. He said there was no doubt whatsoever what I did for a living. Yep. He's like, and then it was funny because people they automatically are drawn to discuss some house in their neighborhood or their house or whatever, you know. And then, like you were saying earlier, it goes back to, you know, do you know somebody that does some electrical work or whatever? I mean, it still winds up that we're giving suggestions.
Yep. Yeah, there's a whole circle of, I mean, it's so much bigger than just selling houses. I mean, you have to think of all the people that go into building a house. So when you're selling that house, at some point in time, your clients are going to have an electrical problem. They're going to have a plumbing issue. There's going to be a sump pump that goes bad. There's going to be a garbage disposal that gets locked up. Think of the things that have happened in your house in the last 5 years. You know, what problems have you had? Your clients will have those same problems. And if they can look to you as the solution person, then you'll always be on the forefront of their brain anytime anything real estate comes up, whether it's carpet, electrical, plumbing, or, hey, you know, my next door neighbor is selling their house and they want to talk to you.
Yeah, Glenda mentioned that before. She said she's got a lot of people that call her with just different contractor questions and things.
And one of the things that I really want to say is that real estate is not only selling houses. I mean, if you like, I think that's one of the things that some realtors have not a lot of success, because they think that it's selling houses and get commissions, but it's not only that. I mean, real estate can be so broad. I mean, it's so many ways, I mean, that you can apply real estate to. Like my brother runs a construction company, and he has plumbing. I mean, we have all these licensed contractors and everything. So, I mean, and they all know me. And when I have a client and I help them, I mean, they recommend myself to an uncle, to a friend, and then you get there to the house and the neighbor wants to see it. Oh, you got this closing so soon. My cousin wants to sell the house. And how he was saying, how Kris was talking, it's just so, I mean, so many things, you know, at the same time, but you had to be careful how to handle each one. And be prepared, because that's an opportunity. I mean, if the neighbors of your client comes, that's an opportunity to you. And then it would be up to you if you know how to handle that and be nice and get that deal too. So
I think a lot of it boils down to networking. And I know Julie and I've had this conversation before, like she's selling a lot of houses right now to her kids, friends, parents, and things like that. So, I mean, it is who knows what you're doing. So Kim, I would say, get a notebook out and make a list of all the places that you go on a fairly regular basis and the things that you do. And I know I recommend this to everybody, so a lot of you guys have probably already heard me say this, but just make the list, start inviting them to be your friend on Facebook, to be your friend on Instagram. To me, they're easier to find on Facebook a lot of times. I've went through my yearbooks. And even though, you know, if you're not from the city that you're in, there's still a referral paycheck that could be, you know, sending them to Julie in Michigan or other agents. Like we had Trish Caballero on last week. I mean, here's a Miami contact if you have somebody that's moving there. It's about networking, and it's about who knows what you do and what you can help them with. I think that that's huge.
Yep. The referral, outside state referral thing is huge. I did 3.5 million in referrals last year to Colorado. And I mean, in Colorado, that doesn't take much. I think that was about 7 or 8 deals. But I mean, to get a paycheck for, I think I made close to $20,000, and all I had to do was fill out a form and have Whitney sign the form.
Right.
I mean, that their agents do all the work. So.
But it's still about networking. I mean, it's about knowing the other agents. You know, I've told all of our group, I'm like, go online, find some other agents within our company, within the moms pages, whatever, and just friend request people that you're reading what they say and they sound normal, I guess, for lack of a better word. They sound like they have their head on straight, as my dad would say. You know, and that way you're building your tribe,
yep,
for lack of a better word.
We're in real estate. There's nothing normal about us.
We're all unnormal. That's what's normal.
It takes a different breed to be in this business.
Okay, so back to Kris, question for you on, let's go with Zillow.
Okay.
When you first started with Zillow, how much were you spending?
I was spending $790 a month for one zip code. And I had my lender talked her into paying for half of it. So I paid, I think, $376 for about 4 months. And it was Park City. Michelle was actually the one that talked me into it. I thought, nah, Park City, that'll be a waste of money. And I think I sold a little over $1 million in Park City in about 6 months. I mean, it was nuts. It paid for itself in a heartbeat and then some.
I was going to say, what's the ROI on that? So you did how much a month? 700 and what?
Well, my half was 376. Well, if you do the whole thing, 790 or whatever 376 times 2 is 752.
So 376 times 6 months is $2,256.
Yep.
So if you did $1 million times 0.03, that's 30,000 minus the company's cut. So you got $24,000 for spending $2,200.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy, the ROI on that. And I decided to go bigger and bigger and bigger. And then I think I got to a point where it was too much and I wasn't seeing the ROI, so I backed off. So now I'm about $3,100 a month right now in Zillow.
And the lender's splitting that with you?
She pays for 1,000 of it. So
okay.
I pay like $21.85, I think, and I have 5 or 6 zip codes. Okay. But they're larger zip codes. I'm still in Park City. I took over Hayesville, so I've been to Hayesville quite a bit. But Hayesville is it's one of those towns like a Park City. I mean, anything outside of Wichita right now is people are buying homes everywhere except Wichita, it seems like.
Kris, how are those leads coming in right now? I know since I've done it, Zillow's changed a bit. Are those coming direct to your phone, or some do, some don't? How does that work right now?
Some do. I probably get 1 to 2 warm transfers a day where the client is on the line and we talk and we try to set up an appointment or whatever. And then I probably get 2 to 3, sometimes 4 leads that are emailed, the nurtured leads. And I haven't had much luck with those.
Mm-hmm. You got to get them right away, don't you?
Yeah, the warm transfers are usually really good.
Those are the best. Okay.
Yeah. But what I end up doing is, even on the warm transfers, you still get the email from Zillow that says, hey, you spoke to this person and this is the house they pinged on. So I always forward it to my assistant and I have her put it in KV Core and I say, hey, build a search alert around this house. Mm-hmm. Go up $20,000, go down a bedroom. I want to send them as many things as humanly possible until they tell me to either stop or we're way off the mark.
Are you putting them on a buyer drip too?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. They get put into a buyer drip. They get, everything. They become a regular KV Core lead. She calls them and she makes really good notes. And then she created different tags in KV Core. She was on it. She's worth her $168 a week.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know what KV Core is, I mean, it's kind of the equivalent of like Boomtown, or it's an automating system. It's a CRM where if we post advertisements and they click on that link, it captures their email and phone number, and it's automatically texting an email following up for us, instead of us having to remember to do it, because I know I suck at that. So saves me a lot of time. Glenda, do you have anything that you are paying for marketing aside from your Facebook?
I never pay Zillow. Well, not, I mean, right now I have a lot, I still have a lot of clients, but no, I never paid for advertising before, and I'm still have paid. So
Right. On your Facebook advertising, are you paying to boost any of your posts off of like your business page so that they're going out past your sphere?
No.
Okay.
And
Glenda, how many likes do you have on your business page?
I will say from 6 to 8.
100?
Yeah, daily. Yeah.
But how many followers do you have on your, I'm just curious to get that reach, because I know it's really hard to get reach on your business page unless you're boosting or running ads.
Yeah, I have 4,500.
Oh, wow. You really built it up.
Yeah, but I speak English and I speak Spanish, so I have both markets.
That's
And
great.
I have people that call my office, and then they say Spanish, and then I'm the only one who speaks Spanish at my office, so all those calls are transferred to me. So without even me looking for clients, I mean, they will call the office and say any Spanish speaking, and they will transfer those calls to me. Or if they walk into the office too. Yep.
So I know you can speak for this and Ori can speak for this. How many, just to give Julie a better idea, how many agents do you think we have in our market that speak Spanish?
That is speak Spanish very well. I would say about 6 or 8 that I know. The ones that I know that they speak Spanish and understand Spanish very well. So I speak and know how to write Spanish very well. So, yep. But I think it's a great market right now here in Wichita. We, like I have a lot of clients, 40% I will say they're Spanish, and then 60% other markets. But they're so ready. I mean, they're ready to buy a house. They have been working all the life, saving money, getting credit, establishing credit, and they're ready now. I'm here. I'm like, hey, well, if you're ready, I'm ready. So, and I try to be really nice, really, really nice. I mean, with the Spanish market, you had to be, they can see at the beginning, they can see very demanding, but it's because they don't really know the process. I think other cultures are more knowledge about and more educated about the process, you know, getting a loan. But with the Spanish can be a little bit difficult, but it's worth it. I mean, and I think if you love your job, I love what I do. I mean, it's just not, I don't get stressed because, oh my God, I got all these calls. No, I love what I do. I mean, when I get all these clients, I love it. I like it. I mean, oh my God, I have a lot to do and I get excited. So, yeah.
Kim posted a question and it says, how do you keep up with the market and know what's going on with it on a constant basis? And my question is do you think that that's important right now?
I do think being up to date with the market, definitely, you want to sound intelligent when that person from the mom group or your fitness group asks you what's going on in the market. You want to sound intelligent with that. So I try to talk to my preferred lender, Michelle. I chat with her daily about the clients she's working with. And I'm always trying to just figure out what's the best rate today. You know, if somebody asks me, hey, what are FHA rates today? I want to be able to spit out that answer like that, to know that that they think I'm intelligent about what I'm doing. As far as keeping up with the other market stuff, really for me, it's just my pulse is on my business. And I feel like if I know what's going on in my business, I'm pretty confident that I can kind of give a generalization about how the market is in the rest of our community.
Well, and we're all hearing so much like There's a shortage of listings. I mean, you can just look at Facebook in general. If you're friends with very many agents and you're seeing all of us trying to find houses for people, multiple offers. I mean, I do know also, Kim, that our board puts out like a monthly newsletter, so you can kind of read up on what that is. Interest rates, I just kind of get an idea, a range, because lately the lenders can't even keep up with the government rates, with FHA and VA, because they've fluctuated so bad in the last couple of weeks. Conventional is maintained fairly steady, but yeah, I think once you get that relationship with the lender and you're just out showing houses, you're going to have a better feel for what's going on in the market.
Yep.
There's one more thing that I want to mention. Last year, I had a family with 5 clients from the same family. They call another realtor. And this is what happened. They called them because they like a house. The realtor told them, do you have a pre-approval? They didn't have a pre-approval letter at that time, but they had 780 credit score. So the realtor told them, do you have a pre-approval letter? Because I want to know before going and showing you a house. And they say no. So they say, well, I'm sorry, but I can't help you at this moment. Until you get that, call me back. But very rude. So, and then they found me and they say, hey, we want to look at this house. And I asked them, and I asked the same question. Do you already have a pre-approval letter? I mean, have you worked with the lender before? And they're like, no. And they say no. And I was like, well, what's your credit score? See, those questions, I mean, I don't mind to ask. You're going to lose like 2 or 3 minutes to ask those questions. And I say, hey, I mean, what's your credit score? I mean, are you ready, or do you still need help? And they say, oh no, my credit is pretty good. And these people have 780 credit score. Mm-hmm. And even the cost, I mean, I brought the youngest, their cousin was the youngest. He was 20 years old. And Secure First Title, they took picture of him. He had an 800 score, credit score. Wow. So imagine, I mean, that realtor lost 5 deals.
And that's only to date. I mean, that doesn't even include all of the future business that you're going to get from those 5 families.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of them have very, very highest credit score, even the one that was 20 years old. So.
So Kris, what's your policy on that? When somebody calls you or you get a Zillow Live Connect or whatever, and you've never met with them before, what's your policy on how you handle that?
If it's a Zillow Live Connect, I will go show them the one house. And when I'm there at the house, I will do everything in my human power to build the relationship with them and get them to get pre-approved. I don't necessarily tell them, hey, this is it until you're pre-approved. But I make it very clear that being pre-approved, especially in our market right now, where houses are still going under contract in hours, not days and weeks, but hours. And so the likelihood of the house that we're looking at being on the market in 48 hours when they have all their pre-approval stuff done is almost 0. And I'm very, very, I paint that picture for them that, hey, time is of the essence. The fire is there. We need to go. If this is what your goal is to get into a home, then okay, I'm here to help you, but we got to take these steps. And I'm going to hold your hand as much as I need to, but you still got to do some of the legwork. You got to call this person. You got to get on this website. Once they're pre-approved, then yeah, it's game on, and we go from there.
I know that's kind of go ahead, Julie.
I just have a question around that, because here in Michigan, we're non-essential right now. Yeah. So I haven't shown a house in 5 weeks, you guys. So, but my question is, when we talk about the pre-approval, I mean, do we see things changing now where maybe a seller is going to demand that, moving forward after this pandemic? Do they want just anyone traipsing through the house, right? Are they going to be, is it going to be kind of mandatory now? Like it's not our discretion, it's that seller's discretion, like kind of like the luxury listings are, show us the pre-approval. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I haven't seen any change here. The only one that I've seen any change on, there's one set of agents right now, and I actually had a whole conversation about it yesterday because it irritated me. I've been trying to schedule a couple of different showings on some different listings, and they approve them. Then they send me back that it's been declined. Then they say, oh, here's a video. You have to watch the video. And then we need to see your buyer's pre-qualification letter. And to me, I'm just like, I can verify whether my client has a letter or not. I don't need to send you a letter with my buyer's name on it, more than likely their address, all this stuff to give out who I'm working with to other people.
Right.
But I did find out, because I just thought it was interesting that it was the same agent, it was multiple properties, but I guess the owner owns all of these listings. You know, it's one owner that owns several of them. It's not just that that's been the agent's new protocol. And it's not even really because the owner gives a rip. It's because there's tenants in all of them. And they're all different price ranges, different locations. That's why I couldn't connect the dots. And I was talking to the broker yesterday, and that's the story I got. And I also looked it up on our county website to see who the owners were, just to verify what I was told. So, but otherwise, I'm not really seeing any difference on the seller side of what they're.
Yeah. I had one seller, well, still do. We're closing Thursday. When the whole COVID deal came down, he was okay with showings because we only had 3 showings before the house sold. But then he was freaking out about the inspector. He was just he was that ultimate worry wart person. And he's tried to do certain things along the way to almost kill the deal, to make the buyers just want to get out so that he didn't have to worry about it. And I've done everything I can at this point, because at this point now I'm as stubborn as he is. And so at this point now, I've done everything I can to overcome every single objection that he has thrown at me. And now we're to the point where the appraisal's in, the repairs are done, everybody's been paid. I mean, he's, aside from just not showing up to closing on Thursday, it's a done deal. And you can tell he's very, very irritated at the whole situation, because now, you know, he sent me this long email last week about, well, now I have to move and I got to have movers come in my house who may have COVID-19. And now I got to go into somebody else's house and they may have COVID-19. I don't know. And I'm like, well, I guess you got to do certain things to prepare yourself and protect yourself. But guess what? You hired me to sell your house. Your house is now sold. Congratulations. You know?
All right, I have one more question, and then if you guys have any questions for Julie or Kris or Glenda, type them in the chat and I'll go through them as we wrap this up. But my last question for you guys is, as you set goals for yourself, are they more income based or are they more production based? Do you look at like how many houses you want to sell, or do you look at how much income you're trying to make?
I always go, well, can I go first?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I always go by income. I mean, I think I studied economics in Wichita State, and I think your sales volume, your income is your main goal. And you can sell 10 houses and only get maybe, very little money. So I think it's mine, it's income. I mean, my target is to make certain amount by the end of the year. And I see, okay, I got this client and this ones that I can work with and just get all of them together. But always to set up an amount and say, okay, this is what I am. I mean, this is what I want to be by the end of the year. And then after that, I make my numbers and say, okay, it will take me like 5 houses at this price, or 10 of this certain price, or 20 of this price to get to that goal. And I try to work on it on each client on different side and see, okay, well, if I get this 5 houses at this price, or this one, or this, I can go up to whatever my goal was at the beginning of the year. So I go by income. So
yeah. How do you track it? How do you keep on top of it?
When I get a lead, I always ask, and then most of them, they have a pre-approval. So I know, I mean, they're looking for a 120, a 220, 250, 270. And then, so I add up all my houses and my numbers and say, okay, this is what I am. Like I have sold all the houses that I made, you know, that was my goal for January, February, and March. And then even with the COVID, I mean, 19 that we're facing right now, I'm still have my production. I'm still have my clients. I have my buyers. I'm still looking. We don't have a lot of listings right now in Wichita, but I think I'm still pretty good. I'm still doing okay.
So Kris, what about you? Is it a production, like a number goal, or is it a dollar figure goal?
Mine's a dollar figure, and it's you and I have talked about this. We both love to travel, and so I try to set myself up. I'm always working for the next month, essentially. I mean, that's when our closings are. So I know, like, for example, in July, I'm going to be gone about 2 weeks out of the total month of July. And so I know that in May and June, I want to make as much money as humanly possible those 2 months, because come July, I'm going to be working remotely, won't be able to show a lot of houses in July. So I know my August will probably suffer a little bit. And so for me, it's always been income-based. I'm an Excel spreadsheet nerd, if you will. So I have all of my income, all my listings that sold, and I have my volume figures and everything from last year and then this year. And then I'm always comparing from, you know, what did I do last year in March? What did I do last year in April? And I want to beat those numbers, obviously, because I mean, that makes you feel good when you can beat your number from last year or last month. And so my income is always there in front of me. I always know how much I've made so far this year. On a separate spreadsheet, I have all of my pending listings, and I have all of the calculations already figured out, my 5% eXp stock, all that. So I know exactly what my check is going to be when closing happens. So that also helps me keep the stress level down too, because I can look over there and say, okay, I'm going to make, you know, this month's a bad month. I'm going to make $5,500, but my bills are paid. And I don't have to focus on paying my bills. I can focus on how can I make next month better. And so for me, having Excel spreadsheets, and I probably look at the same spreadsheet 7 to 10 times a day. And I'm always sitting there figuring out, okay, I have these closings coming up. I have these potential listings that are coming up. I've talked to these sellers. They're going to be listing at some point. So here's potential business. Here's a potential list of buyers that I'm working with that are pre-approved. So I always am looking at the potential and saying, okay, if these all things continue to roll, how many balls can I keep in the air at once? I'm going to drop some, but so what? Pick them up, keep juggling.
I was always super numbers based. The income always came after I was hitting the numbers. I know a couple of years ago, I was like, I'm going to do 100 deals. That was my thing that I was trying to drive in, and I failed miserably. I did 80. But you know, it was still, the income was there because the numbers were there. But I think the clue for everybody that's on here is, from what I'm hearing and from what I've seen in my own business, is what you think about multiplies. So as you're watching, you know, here's how much income I have potentially coming in, like Glenda does, you know, from all of these buyers, or Kris, here's what I have pending, here's what I have upcoming. I mean, you focus on it, especially if you're looking at it 7 times a day, like Kris does. So it becomes a bigger picture, and it becomes just something that you are constantly thinking about, and you subconsciously just put steps into action to make it happen.
Yep.
Okay, so Ori has a question for Glenda and Kris. What motivates you? It's a couple questions. What motivates you every day in this career? And what do you say to people who want to wait instead of listing their house right now because of our current situation?
So for me, the first part of that question is, it goes back to what I just said. I love to travel. I'm always out of town, whether it's a bowling tournament. I go to Colorado quite a bit to see my family. I love to get out of town. And so for me, the motivation is get as much work done as humanly possible so that I can make the money, make the income I want to make, so that I can just, you know, Thursday afternoon, I got nothing going on. I'm going to go to Colorado for the weekend. I'm gonna go hang out and see my mom and my sister and my friends and go play some golf in Colorado and just go have a great time. And so that, to me, the travel part of it, knowing what I want to do with my income is huge for me. The people that want to wait to list their house, obviously that's a huge objection right now because of the COVID deal going on. I've had a couple of sellers that were in that boat, and I've convinced them to sell because there are buyers out there that are still wanting to buy. And we don't know the after effects of this COVID deal. We don't know how many layoffs still may come. And one of those buyers that is looking to buy that house could be one of the layoffs, and now you're one less buyer. So for me, I would be letting those sellers know that, look, we'll take every precaution that you want to take to show your house. We'll take, and we'll make sure the buyers take every precaution to see the house. But right now, there's still a shortage of listings. There's still a ton of buyers out there. And if you want to sell your house for what could be the best possible price at this time, now's the time to list. Because in 3 months, when everything kind of goes back to this normal, your house may lose 10% in value. Instead of 179.9, it may be 169.9. And at that point, you may not want to sell. You may lose money at that point.
So Glenda, what about you? What motivates you every single day to do this?
I have been always a people person. I mean, I like to help. So besides my business, like I have been always in clubs, I mean, organizations. Here in Wichita and Wichita State, when I was in college, I was involved on every single group of helping others, bringing food. I mean, any kind of help. So people really motivates me. I mean, it's a huge motivation when I get up in the morning. It's like, okay, they're getting a house, but at the same time, I'm helping these people to get their home. You know, the house that they have been working for all their life. And you can feel when they find that right house, they tell you, this is my house. And I really get a lot of motivation, you know, when I see my clients happy. When it comes to sales right now, I tell my clients, especially if it's a listing, I let them know that we'll still have a seller's market. And I think Kris knows, I mean, 2019 was a crazy year. I mean, we had a very, very seller's market, dominate the whole market in Wichita. So I tell them, hey, it hasn't changed. I mean, if you still have a good job, if you're not losing your job, and we still have a lot of buyers. I mean, I sent 2 offers on Sunday night, and those houses were under contract at 10 a.m. and my showing was at 11. So, I mean, well, you had to know what's going on in your market and let them know and let your clients know, okay, this is where we at. And you had to be sure that your house will be sold. And how Kris said, we will take every action that it's in our hands to protect you. And when they sell that, you're pretty much protecting them, they will be okay. So
I think the biggest thing that I learned a long time ago from one of my brokers that I worked with was, you need to be the expert. They are looking to you to be the expert. And so when they ask you about selling their home, or the buyers ask about, is now a good time to buy, you have to flip your hat and be the expert, because that is your job, is to be the expert. They don't want somebody who thinks they know what's going on. They want to have confidence. It's like when you were a kid, you were struggling with something, you always went to your parents, or you always had that family member, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, that you could go to and trust them with your answer, whatever your concern was. And these people are coming to you, and they may not seem concerned, but they're coming to you and they're asking for your advice because they know that you're in real estate. So your job is to be their expert.
Ori, do you have a vision board? Yeah. I think that's what motivates. I mean,
I do.
there's a lot of things that motivate me, but I again, super visual. I just keep everything what our goals are. Our goal this year is to be debt free, other than our house. So pay off our 2 cars, all of our debts. So we made, this is funny, maybe TMI, but we made an entire spreadsheet of everything that we have. And the place that we sit and focus the most is on the toilet. So the side of our cabinet is in front of our toilet. So it is taped to the side of our cabinet. So every time we're sitting there, we can sit and look at all of the debt that we have and get up off the toilet and get motivated to go sell something else. So again, it's what you think about, and it's in front of you, and then you go do something about it. So, and I love just kind of like a list. I love checking them off. I mean, putting a big black X through them as we've done different things. So anyway.
I do the same thing too, vision wise. I have, I don't have a board. Last year, when I bought my new house, I bought it on the back of a golf course because I love to golf. So for me, that's my vision board. Like right now, we're not really that busy, but there's a group of guys that go golf every afternoon. So I do everything I possibly can to get all my business done by 3:30, 4 o'clock so I can go play golf. And so when I go stand on my back deck, that's my vision is there's green fairways and a beautiful green to chip onto. And to me, that motivates me. Hey, let's go get a deal done today. Let's go talk to a buyer. Let's go set up some showings for this weekend. Let's create some business so that at 4 o'clock I can be on the golf course with those guys.
And being always positive and patient. Some people are so impatient that you can even be with them for like 2 minutes. I mean, you have to be patient. Listen to your clients, to what they have to say, and be positive. Okay, well, we'll get this deal. Even if you don't get it at the end, there will be another house. It will come out on the market. I mean, let's be patient, and they will feel confident with you.
Does anybody else have any questions before we wrap this up? Doesn't look like it. So,
None.
Glenda, thank you for being on today. I can't wait to meet you in person. I haven't ever met you in person, and I appreciate you coming on and amusing me this morning and getting all of your information, because I 100% agree with everything you're saying. And I can see why you've been as successful as you've been. Kris, we talk all the time, so I knew a lot more about your story and background, but I want everybody else to recognize the amazing accomplishments you've made, because you came back from taking a couple of years off, running a bowling alley, the whole nine, to starting real estate back up, and to do the number of deals and the volume of business you're doing right now. It's awesome. It's straight rock star status. So if any of you guys aren't friends with these two on Facebook, I highly recommend that you Facebook friend request them. They're just great agents, great people, and I like watching what they post. So thanks for tuning in this week. I haven't decided what next week's topic is, so if you guys have something that you want to hear about, message me. I'm happy to entertain whatever topics you're curious about, and we'll go from there. So I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you all soon. Bye, Julie.
Thank you.
Bye, thank you.
Leslie, thanks,
I
Glenda.
enjoyed it. Thank you.
Bye.